Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Scripture for Thought video show up here in Paulding Avenue in the Williamsbrige area of the Bronx, New York City, where everybody works hard, hustle the wise way, do a down payment on investments, do success which is nifty and pretty, all up in Paulding Avenue, Williamsbrige Road, area of the Bronx, New York City. Now, my sermon topic for today is, if those that you invite to your banquet that refuse to come, fill the whole banquet full of lanes and country lanes and country roads and lanes, to fill them up. To fill up the banquet to be full. Throughout time and space and time, when people want to organize a party, a luncheon, or a banquet, and the people that you really want to invite so badly that you invite them, but they ain't want to come, and then you become angry and disappointed and pissed. And then you start saying, well, you know what? I invite all these other people that I overlooked that there was like least friends or people in the neighborhood that's good to me that I overlooked. I invite them to my banquet or luncheon or party. The first example is Gideon. Of course, Gideon was a small man, but he was a strong, mighty warrior. One day, when Gideon was going to fight the Midianites, Gideon asked God, he said, God, what can I do with these thousands of people? Then God said, these thousands of people is too much for me. So I have a lesson for you. Let's see who drinks the water. Let's see who drinks the water, and I'll choose for them. The ones that drink the water, that drink it lapping on their back, on their knees, and be licking like an animal, God has rejected them. But those who have put water in their hands and look back and forth, that was the one that God has chosen for Gideon to overthrow the bully empire of Midianites. That's my first example of the people that you invite that refuse to come. Just fill the banquet place full of country roads and lanes for the banquet to be full. Another example is a great banquet. Another example is a great banquet of Jesus. Jesus told this parable to his disciples. Jesus told the parables to his disciples and his believers in Israel. He says, if the people refuse to come to your banquet, do not get angry, do not get disappointed, do not get pissed. Whatever you do, you invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the disabled, and fill up the whole place full from people from the open lanes and from the country places. That God's banquet, which is your banquet also, and banquet room will be full. Another example is a great guest that visited King Solomon. Well, he had all these people pleasing him, kissing up to him, and just catered to him because he was the king of Israel. The Queen of Sheba sent a letter to King Solomon, and then the Queen of Sheba came and heard the elaborate, intelligent, and persuasive and redundant words of King Solomon. And then Queen Sheba was pleased and gave him some gifts and some rewards and some treasures. But King Solomon said, well, I like these gifts, rewards, and treasures. I'd rather receive the wisdom from God. This is the third and last question. The third and last example of if those who have invited, for those who have invited who do not choose to come, just fill the banquet place from the country roads and the lanes. So our banquet party will be full. The last example is about Paul in the book of Ephesians, that he says, wow, God's grace has filled the whole universe, that he gives to first disciples, then teachers, then prophets, then apostles. They fill the whole universe, that it will be filled with so much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that is beyond grasping. That's what God said through Paul from the book of Ephesians. That's my last example of, and in that way, Paul was talking about the stars, the moons, the planets, and all the other heavenly figures of the universe as part of God's audience. That it will be full with his banquet party. The next time when you invite people to your party, your luncheon, or your banquet, and they refuse you, do not be angry. Do not get angry like I would. Do not get disappointed like I would. Do not get pissed like I would. You know what you do? You say, well, if it's God's glory, if it's God's will, let it be. And then the people that you invite your poor neighbors, you invite your neighbors that you overlook, that you think less about. You invite the blind, the crippled, the lame, and the disabled. Even though they cannot repay you, that when you die and go into Judgment Day and open the pearl gates of heaven, before the angels open the pearl gates of heaven, Jesus will repay you on the resurrection, on the righteousness. Now, as for in Portland Avenue and the Williamsbrige Road area of the Bronx, New York City, where everybody works hard, works hard, hustle the wise way, do a down payment on the investments, be successful, which is all that's pretty, all up in Portland Avenue, Williamsbrige Road area of the Bronx, New York City. Now, as for my weekly scripture for thought video show, a Bronx special, I'm your host, your most, Preacher Anthony Walker said, Papa, so long, other depth, time for rap.